Broadcasting from the Merritt Hall Studios out of Carson City, Nevada. You're listening to Covering the Field with Big Richard Martin, Gator Gates, and Joe the Answer Ellison.
Welcome to Covering the Field. I'm Joe Ellison, and with me today is my incredible colleague, Big Richard Martin. Big Rich. March Madness has reached its conclusion. What happened Saturday leading up to Monday's NC2A basketball championship game?
Well, Joe, it was the UConn Huskies who let the dogs out. I can tell you right now, UConn dominated the series, ran through the NCAA tournament, beating everybody by double-digit figures. It all started Saturday when they held a high-scoring Miami Hurricanes to a season-low 59 points, held them to 32% field goal shooting, out-rebounded them 41-32, and out of those 41 rebounds, 30 defensive rebounds. So no second chances for Miami. They didn't shoot well, and they only shot 12 free throws. As we said, they were going to have to get to the line. Great interior defense by the UConn Huskies. They get by, but the first game was San Diego State. It was a thriller when FAU was up by 3 with freaking 40 seconds left. They thought they were going to be the Cinderella story again, and another win. Lamont Bradley had other intentions, hitting a buzzer beater and sending San Diego State to the finals.
Yeah. So, how is it in Colorado, I must say?
Well, Joe, thanks for having me. It is in Colorado. It is a lot warmer than it is in Nevada. I can tell you that. Enjoying some 70-degree weather, good spring weather out here, and glad to be on the show.
Yes. I'm glad you can make it. So I was going to say about the Aztecs, that game against Florida Atlantic, they were down by like 14 minutes with 14 minutes left. It showed a lot of moxie there. They did have 7 or 8 seniors, I believe, on the team, and that certainly made a difference. They didn't panic, and they ended up beating Creighton by 1 point and Florida Atlantic by 1 point. That's never been done before in the Elite Eight and Final Four. So that was truly an amazing thing that happened there. But I will give Florida Atlantic credit, 33-4 season. Their last Final Four was the 2002 Atlantic Sun Tournament. So to go all the way to the Final Four, truly an amazing season for them.
Amazing season, and they played well. I mean, they actually played well enough to win. They had the ball. They had a 1-point lead with the ball. They just made that 2-pointer at the end. It didn't happen, and Lamont Bradley came down ice in the veins. But good season for, like you said, for FAU, and good for San Diego State. How about that, man? They don't have any tournament wins, and then they go all the way to the finals.
Right. Miami, in that game against Connecticut, they missed like 15 layups, 8 of 23 on layups.
Right. And what shows you the cheer?
They were getting to the hoop, and they were aggressive. They just weren't finishing.
They weren't finishing. Like you said, that interior defense is awesome, led by Adam Sanaga. Awesome job for that junior, and he seems to be coming back for UConn next year. We'll get into that. But I really think that they were just playing great defense, and they weren't fouling. They weren't getting to the line. And like I told you, with those 30 defensive rebounds, they were one and done. They were missing a shot going down there. And, UConn, all tournament, they only allowed 59 points average per game in the 6 games they played. So they were playing great defense. Those don't take nothing away from the Dogs. They played great. They started off the championship game on a 9-0 run. I mean, how do you just come out there and Adam hits 2 3-pointers, the big center, the big forward, sinks two of the 3, and they get up on a 9-0 run and never look back. San Diego State did come back. They were close to 5, and then they went on a 9-0 run, shutting them down. Congratulations, Dogs. You deserved it. Great tournament. Yep.
It was a crazy tournament, that's for sure. The 4th time since '79, no 1 or 2 seeds were in the final. That was crazy. Of course, the Aztecs did go that stretch where they missed 12 straight shots. That was a killer.
Yeah, it was 11 minutes without making a bucket. It's hard to watch, especially if you got money on the Aztecs. But, you got to love good defense and good rebounding. They're fundamentally sound. great job by the Dogs. Like I said, they shot 40% from 3-point throughout the tournament, so they never really had a bad game. Their worst game, they shot 34% from behind the arc. So they had it all going.
It seemed like the refs were on their side too. The fouls, the way those went. What was it, like 20 fouls for San Diego State, 15 for Connecticut. Of course, those led to free throws. San Diego State 15 of 20 free throws, Connecticut 24 of 27. So that was a big difference. So
I mean,
I think the refs had control of that game.
Well, they had to. The both do defensive play and defensive minded team. As San Diego State usually holds their teams down, but you got to throw 70 burger up to beat UConn. No one's done it yet, and especially throughout the tournament.
I was a little disappointed in the CBS coverage. I mean, they're calling all these fouls, but you never saw any replays. And I'm like, hey, that didn't look like a foul. And then they just go to the next play like, okay, everything's just fine. So I thought the coverage was kind of poor, actually.
Oh, well, the gymnastics last one, and we don't like to bring anything up about the refs in these big games. Hey, unless, of course, you have a wager on it. Sometimes it looks like it.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Okay.
But San Diego State, they had that streak of 12 consecutive unders. Well, their last two games both went over.
So throw the analytics out the window.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I guess you had to at that one. So Connecticut, congratulations to them. They were as high as 60-1 to win the tournament. If you could have got it at that time, that would have been amazing.
Especially when they went 13-7 in the Big East, tied for fourth place. Didn't seem like Tony's going to make a deep run to the NCAA tournament with that kind of record. Proved us all wrong.
Yeah, and San Diego State, the Mountain West Conference never had an Elite Eight team, let alone a team in the championship game. So here's a sink or swim for you. That sink or swim, that would have been San Diego State's first national championship of any kind. Sink or swim.
I would have to sink on that. I would say that maybe a softball team in there. Maybe a water polo team, as they do very well swimming in San Diego. But I'm gonna sink. I say some other sport got a championship.
Oh, you're absolutely right. That is a sink. The 1973 men's volleyball team won a championship. That program no longer exists, but at the time they had a great volleyball team.
They had a great run. Good.
Great run.
are good, and they should be good at sand since they're on the beach there. But okay,
Chris Marlowe and the boys on that volleyball team. So that's Connecticut's fifth championship since '99. Each time they've gone to the Final Four, they win it all. So that's something to learn on that one. We did pick Connecticut over San Diego State last week, so we did good with that. And another trend continued. 17 of the 19 last champions wore blue. So keep sticking with those blue teams. But
you and Snoop Dogg on the blue colors. Okay, Joe, I got you on that. All right. So, but hey, let's talk a little bit about talk about refs. Let's talk about the women's side of the NCAA.
Oh, I was going to say, do you have any early predictions for next year for men's basketball?
Well, UConn is probably only going to lose one of their guys. I think Hawkins is the only one who's going to be a bonus pick out of the NBA lottery draft. So I think that they're going to have four guys come back for UConn. So they are the early favorites.
Yeah, great coach and Dan Hurley. In fact, they won it in 2004 and 14. So why not 2024? Every 10 years they seem to do it. And thank you to Butch the Butcher Roberts for some of those stats.
Right.
So the women's March Madness.
Right.
We're starting to get to that was actually equally exciting. What had occurred there at the Final Four in Dallas?
Well, I mean, Caitlin Clark stunned the world taking off the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yes, the undefeated defending national champion South Carolina.
First loss of the year came in her hand, and a controversial John Cena wave across her face saying, "You can't see me," blew up the social media. And even John Cena, he chimed in on that, saying he was all for it, and you were playing great. Congratulations on that win. And it was all set up for the LSU big final showdown, and LSU got it done. They put up 102 points and beat Iowa, by 17 points. So congratulations to them. Angel Reese gives back to John Cena wave across the face, and Caitlin Clark at the end. And, Caitlin Clark's class act. She doesn't react to it. She doesn't say anything but congratulates them. So, some people on social media thought that was wrong, pointing to her ring finger. I think, hey, if you're going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it. Caitlin Clark has nothing to be ashamed of. She had multiple 40-point games, and she averaged 31.1 throughout the tournament. Great job. And they even got the president involved. He wanted to invite both teams, and that kind of blew up on social media as well. LSU saying there's only one winner. There's no consolation trophies. So what happened over there? But Caitlin Clark, she did throw 191 points up in the tournament, and that's an all-time record for the women's basketball.
Yep. She did get that 41 points in that game against South Carolina. Amazing. They used up a lot of energy in that one, obviously. She scored or assisted on 23 of 28 field goals. That's really incredible. Anybody who had Iowa, plus the 11.5, but more importantly, that plus 450 on the money line. That was really nice.
That would have been the hit. Funny. But, congratulations to Kim Hurley. It's her 4th national title in LSU. They look like the better team. I was watching it. They were definitely a better team. The refs had some controversial calls, like you were saying. I think they had some astronomical amount of fouls called on each side. And, at the end, they give a technical foul. Caitlin Clark gets her 4th foul, because in college, if you get a technical, it goes against your 5 fouls. Or just on a timeout, throwing the ball behind her back and not giving it to the ref.
Yeah, I thought LSU head coach Kim Mulkey, she had those referees in her back pocket. They seemed to be responding to her, and that technical seemed ridiculous. Totally absurd.
Totally absurd. It was a lot of fouls called. Everybody was in foul trouble, and you have to keep it under control, but you got to let them play. Also, no one wants to see the hand check calls and the ticky-tack calls. Save this championship game. Let's let the kids play.
Yeah. So, LSU was a number 3 seed. That's the lowest since 1997. Tennessee was also a number 3. But as far as that taunting thing, I can't stand it. It just infuriated me just watching it happen. So unsportsmanlike. It just sends the wrong message, man. This is the college level. You know what I mean? I can understand it in the pros or something, but
as long as she could take it, she took it pretty well. She said, "Congratulations, they won. She deserves it." Didn't say one thing bad about her, and it's a pretty class act, I thought, by Caitlin Clark. And she's a junior; she'll be back next year. She doesn't go to the WNBA.
Well, she certainly could, but I guess
she has 2 years. Actually, 2 years with the COVID. She'll have 2 years eligibility, so she could be different another couple years.
That's great for the college game, but you start taunting the best player in the league, in the country. Something's got to be done about that. I mean, if it was a hockey and someone's taunting Wayne Gretzky, somebody's going to come out there and start smashing some faces.
You wanted Iowa enforcers? What you're saying, Chuck? You need someone to come out of the cornfield. Okay.
And maybe punch her in the face and then point to her fist or something and say, now what? You know what
Caitlin
I mean?
Clark is a shooter, not a fighter, man. You got to tell her. She ain't going to be fighting somebody.
I know.
But anyway,
pro sports, that stuff's going to happen. But in college, I guess, we're
there should have been something done. I don't know. Give her. I mean, the game was over, so you couldn't give her a tech. I don't know what else she could have done, but definitely didn't. She gets a tech for throwing the ball behind her back to the goalpost instead of bouncing it to the ref. Unbelievable. Seems like someone had a little power trip on the referee team there.
Yeah, for sure. So, Mulkey, she has allowed clothing, the coach. She's won 4 championships, joining Connecticut's Gino Auriemma and the late Pat Summitt of Tennessee. Those are the best ever. And she's now the only coach to win titles at 2 different schools. As far as the betting, I was surprised to see LSU getting 3.5 points in that championship game. I thought that was crazy. And
right, that should have been a pick 'em, you think, but a lot of people jumped on it. A lot of people jumped on that LSU because like coming off a big win, not going to hard to compete at that level to win that type of game 2 times in a row. So they had a tough draw. They would had a different way in. They had to play South Carolina in the first game instead of the second game.
And on March 13th, you could have got LSU at 18-1. Those would have been the best odds. So 2011, the last time the winner was not a number 1 seed. So that was a crazy tournament also.
It was good. Yeah, it was good all the way around. And looking forward to next year, 2024 season. Hopefully we see Caitlin Clark back out there with the Hawkeyes and see some of these guys back from UConn also.
And, yes, looking towards that, Connecticut men and women both won championships in 2004 and 14. So maybe that every 10 years thing applies to the women too. So see how that goes.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind.
Well, poor Joe Biden couldn't invite LSU and Iowa to the White House. Angel Reese called that concept an absolute joke, so that idea was scrapped. So there you go.
Well, I'm glad. I'm on her side. You don't win, you don't go to the White House, man. You don't know consolation trophies. You got to be for the champions.
Also, we congratulate North Texas, who beat conference rival Alabama Birmingham to win the NIT tournament. We previewed that last week. Okay, so Big Rich, what's the news from the National Basketball Association?
Well, actually, it happened last week, Joe. Last Thursday, the Celtics put a beat down on the Bucks, crushing them by 140-99 in Milwaukee. Their second worst loss in home history. Then they bounced back and won 2 in a row against Philly and Washington. So they still hold a 3-game lead over the Celtics, and the Knicks in the East have won 4. So out in the West, we got to see. We have the Kings are holding on there. Still got a 3-game lead. They're 6-4. The Nuggets are 6-4. Memphis is rolling at 8-2. But the game of the night tonight, you got the Lakers. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they have moved to a tie for the 6th spot. So they didn't even have to play the play-in game. They got LeBron, Anthony Davis playing great, and the Clippers 5-5. So even though the Clippers are at home, they all share the crypto stadium out there in LA. So they play in sets of home court for both sides. And you got Chris Paul, you have Paul George and out until April 9th, it looks like. So he won't be playing tonight. And Eric Gordon is questionable.
Okay. Well, I think the Kings, out of those teams you mentioned, that seems like the best story. In the playoffs for the first time since 2006, the old coach, Rick Adelman. And then they fired him after that year, and they never made it back again. Oh, that was the longest.
So who's the coach? Who's coaching for Kings now? I mean, is their job in jeopardy, or because they're going to win? They're going to win. Go to the playoffs and have some home courts. They're definitely going to get some home. They're going to play at home for the first series.
Yeah, well, Mike Brown deserves Coach of the Year honors, in my opinion. This came out of nowhere.
All right, no pink slip for Mike Brown. We're going to keep him in there.
Yep. So that was the longest drought ever for an NBA team. In fact, it was the longest playoff drought for any team for a while now. The last time, in fact, now the current drought is 12 years. That's the New York Jets and Buffalo Sabres. So that'd been a while for sure.
Well, I don't think Buffalo's going to do it this year. So I think that they're still
they're done.
They're done for sure.
The last time Sacramento won a playoff series, 2004. So, yeesh.
Who they have Vlade Divac TV?
Stojakovic, Chris Webber, all those, Mike Bibby.
Right.
It was a pretty darn good team. The refs kind of hosed them too one year. The Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, but we don't need to get into that. But here, one more sink or swim for today.
Okay.
The Kings franchise has never won an NBA championship. Sink or swim.
Well, you gave it away, Joe, when you said the franchise instead of Sacramento. So the Kansas City Kings obviously won a national championship. So I'm going to say sink on that.
Well, it was not the Kansas City Kings. It was the Rochester Royals.
Okay, we got to go back a little further.
1951, man. So that was the sink. Yeah, for sure. I did give it away a little bit.
Okay.
I will say also Detroit clinched the NBA's worst record. They now have a 14% chance of getting the first pick of the draft in the lottery, and we all know who that's going to be. It's that 19-year-old Frenchman, Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if you've seen him play yet, but
right, he's 7'4" or something like that. He's definitely playing in the European League. Is he 7'4", 7'3"? What is he, Joe?
Oh, it looks like he's 7'4". Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
So I mean, there's some good players coming out. you got Zach Edey coming out. And you also have Brandon Miller. So any of those top 3 picks can be something good for your franchise. You had a tough season in the NBA.
Right. Betting wise, last Sunday Portland beat Minnesota. Minnesota was a 19.5-point favorite. Portland was plus 1150. That's the biggest upset in like 30 years. Biggest ever in 1992. Orlando beat Chicago as a 21-point dog. So, and also Sunday, in fact, San Antonio beat Sacramento as a 9-1 underdog. So money line parlay, Portland to San Antonio, that would have been pretty amazing.
That would have been very good odds, I can tell you that. And I think Sacramento was at home during that game too, and then lost to the Spurs.
So crazy upsets late in the season. So moving on to the National Hockey League, we don't have Gator Gates with us today, sadly, but he wanted us to know the hot teams right now are Boston, Edmonton, Colorado, Florida, Calgary, and Detroit. The cold teams are Arizona, Anaheim, Chicago, Washington, and Columbus. So keep an eye on those. Gator went 8-2 with his game predictions last week. That puts him at 162 and 78 for the season. That's 67.5%. Pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good. Moving up that 70-point Gator line. We love it.
Yep.
What they would look at the Central is all locked up there in the Western one. They're all sitting at top. Avs, Minnesota, and Dallas. They're all sitting at 98 points right now. So if you want to go out there, you can get some odds, really good odds on the Wild. They just beat Avalanche last week. I think they were 9-1 to win that. So they're tied. That's pretty good odds. If you're going to get 9-1, you got three teams only in the running for that. So something to look at.
So odds to win that division. All right. Well, Gator has some picks for this week. Let's give them out. Thursday, he likes Dallas, Colorado, Seattle, and the New York Rangers. Saturday, he's taking Edmonton, Toronto, Seattle, and the New York Rangers. And Sunday, he's picking Boston and Colorado. So, as usual, 10-pack. Out. Incidentally, Boston has clinched the President's Cup as the best regular season team. So, and one more note in hockey, College's Frozen Four is this weekend. He's leaning towards the underdogs, Boston University against Minnesota and Quinnipiac against Michigan. So if you take both those pluses straight, you just get one and you come out ahead. So we'll see how that goes.
Take the dogs on the ice.
That's what he's thinking.
Okay,
so,
I like it.
Yeah, favorites in the pros and underdogs in the college, apparently.
Okay.
So, Big Rich, is there any news from the NFL this week?
Well, I mean, we're still waiting for someone to take up Rodgers, are we?
It's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen. We're still waiting. Lamar Jackson still doesn't have a home. He says he wants to be traded. And
how about the Patriots? Were they actually thinking about trading Mac Jones? That's what has been rumored. Of course, the Patriots aren't the ones saying it. I guess there are other teams that are being contacted, and he was available apparently.
Well, I know the Giants definitely were thinking. That the Jets are definitely going to need a quarterback. So if it doesn't fall through, they're going to have to do something.
Yeah. They're also thinking about the NFL's thinking about flexing Thursday games. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean Thursday it's great until you have now it's going to be on Prime. It's going to be on Prime, so you can't go to the local bars and watch it. So that seems to be the place to go on Thursday. A lot of bars can't get the Prime Video to stream it, so we have to look and see how the NFL TV packets are coming up.
Right. So it seems like if we're going to be flexing games, the good teams are going to be playing more and more Thursday games, right? So I don't know. That's going to be kind of unfair to the really good teams. It seems.
Well, it's unfair on one side, and it's fair. You remember how Dallas used to say they always had the Thursday Thanksgiving game, and they always thought that was an advantage for them to have an 11-day rest after playing on Thursday. So it kind of works both ways. Matters on your injury report. The
last couple of years, they played on Thanksgiving and then played the following Thursday, and then had the 11-day rest. So.
Right.
We'll see see if that happens again.
And we got the draft. We're thinking of the draft. You got CJ Stroud looking strong for the number one after his pro day. But there's a lot of good teams. I like Hendon Hooker. I like he's figured to go like late in the first round, early second round. I think someone can get a still for a mobile quarterback.
We could have 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round.
Right.
So, with Hendon Hooker.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. We're getting close. That's the end of the month. We're going to have the draft already.
Yeah, we're a couple weeks for the draft. So we're ready for it.
Here's a crazy question. Are you watching the XFL at all?
Well, not this week, Joe. I've been, like you said, been out of pocket for a while out here in Colorado, so I wasn't able to catch the games. But seems like, Houston looks like a decent team, and, and the Defenders are undefeated. So.
Well, that's last week was crazy because DC and Houston, the presumed best teams, they both lost. So crazy,
yeah, they're on a 10-game season, so they'll be winding down. I believe they should be getting close. And then 15th is when the USFL kicks off.
This is week 8 right now, so we got 3 weeks of regular season and then 2 weeks of playoffs.
Right.
And the other league is starting up pretty soon too.
Yeah, April 15th, USFL. So
where they're going to be overlapping each other.
Exactly.
Crazy.
So we're going to have a lot of, amateur football. Call it what it is. But it's also a good chance for these guys to get seen and get some work.
Yeah. So the 87th Masters, golf's first major of the year. It's my favorite tournament anyway. Begins tomorrow. Augusta National Golf Club. Any thoughts on that?
Well, looks like you're always goes with Jordan Spieth. I love watching golf. Yeah, we.
Oh, good.
Jordan Spieth. I mean, that's your favorite every week, isn't it? And
yeah, sure is. He's from Dallas. I can't help it, and he has won it before.
But if you get Don Rahm, you can get Don Rahm at plus 850.
Yeah,
that's not a bad pick right there. He's usually in the money, and hopefully Tiger gets to play.
Yep, Tiger. He's playing. It's his 25th Masters. The story, I guess, that's one story. Rory McIlroy, another story. He's going for the Grand Slam. He's won the other 3 majors. But the 18 live players out of the 88 players, we're going to see how everybody gets along at the end of the week. But so far, they've been very respectful. It is Augusta. The huge rivalry among the leagues is
right, and it is a gentleman's sport. Golf is a gentleman's sport. Oh.
Except when Patrick Reed and Rory McIlroy are around, apparently.
Okay, or Tiger's handing a tampon to somebody on the golf course. Maybe that gets a little rough, but it's a gentleman's sport. Right.
Scotty Scheffler won last year, but like you said, I'm picking Spieth. The other one, Brooks Koepka, won last week on the Live Tour, and he's come close at the Masters before, so he's like 33-1. So I kind of took a look at that one. Anyway, so some NASCAR news. Kyle Larson won at Richmond Sunday. That's his 20th in the Cup Series. 20th victory. Josh Berry subbing for Chase Elliott. He got second, so that was pretty amazing.
That was good, yeah. And he stayed out there on the track with some tires and gambled, and they got a caution, so it worked out good for him. And he got second. Chris Bell got fourth, and I think Ross Chase got third. So we're going to go. The boys are going to get dirty this week. They're going to Bristol, going to play on the dirt track. So do you have any information from Gator on the dirt track?
Well, let's see. Yes, Kyle Busch won last year. He's liking Joey Logano, 12-1. Ryan Blaney at 15-1. He's liking the Fords, plus 265. And the manufacturers, so.
Well, it's always good to see them sliding around a little bit. Kyle Busch, he has a lot of experience in that, so I think that's a good pick. But what about Kevin Harvick? Give him a chance in there, sure, also.
Okay, we'll check that out. By the way, Hendrick Motorsports points penalties have been rescinded. The other penalties are still there, but now the Hendrick guys are back up where they belong in the point standings.
Yeah, you got Alex Bowman and Ross Chastain on top at 263 and 259, so they got their points back.
So, Major League Baseball, Tampa Bay remains as the only undefeated team, 5-0. They've outscored their opponents 37-11. That's pretty impressive. Everybody else has lost. So that's a surprise.
And they won today 7-2. So I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe watching
13. No,
right.
Didn't catch this morning's game. Just getting ready for the show.
The West
Giants.
Go ahead, yes. I was going to go with the Giants.
Well, I mean, the Giants had that one game. I mean, was make our producer happy. They got 7 home runs against the White Sox, beat them 12-3. They hit back-to-back homers in the same inning twice for the first time since 1958. So that's quite a feat there. Milwaukee shut out Max Scherzer and the Mets 9-0. Boston, the third team since 1901 to score 9 or more runs in each of their first 3 games. Go Red Sox.
And they're 2-3.
Yeah,
2-3. So they're giving up a lot of runs. Also,
if you can lose 12-9, I guess. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Player news: Los Angeles Angels third baseman Anthony Rendon fined and suspended 5 games for grabbing a fan after a game. I guess the fan was heckling him.
I was in Oakland on Sunday, and I think
he threw a punch and he missed. Okay.
Well, yeah, it's tough in Oakland, man. So, he did get a 5-game suspension. It got reduced to 4. And it got reduced to 4 because he's already serving it right now. So he'll be back out there by this weekend. So, yeah, watch what you're saying, fans out there. These guys are kind of sensitive.
Yeah, and that's a big foul area. You have to go all the way over there to find the guys in the stands. But he heard them loud and clear. That's for sure. So yes, New York Yankee rookie shortstop Anthony Volpe is the 5th player since 1901 to get 3 steals in his first 3 games. So stolen bases are way up this year.
So anyway, enjoy the game and
the new rules, the bigger bases and only 2
some
throws over
squares.
to the base. Definitely advantage to the runners, and we're going to see those numbers up to the 50s for a lot of base stealers this year.
Yep, it's great for the game. I mean, my favorite players were Lou Brock and Ricky Henderson, so the stolen bases kind of disappeared. It's exciting. I'm starting to like it. So
all right, good deal.
Start watching
the runs are up.
Baseball.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of high-scored runs, so the overs look like pretty good bets now with these new rules.
Without a doubt. So on the injury front, Atlanta's Max Fried, Seattle's Robbie Ray, Colorado's Daniel Bard, and Miami's Johnny Cueto all put on the 15-day disabled list. The White Sox Liam Hendricks, who has cancer, is doing better and is on the 60-day DL. So thank you, Rockin, Ronnie McKinnon, for those stories and stats. So I guess it's that time where parts, the parts of our bets that get us very frustrated because we think we have winners. They look to be winners, but in the end, something goes horribly wrong, and our bets end up being losers. It's the segment we affectionately call You Got Hosed.
You got hosed.
So, Big Rich, do you have a You Got Hosed story this week?
Well, I have to go with my pick on the first baseball game of the year. The Dodgers are playing Arizona. Gilliam was pitching for Arizona. Totally dominates the Dodgers last year. Only gives up 1 run in 2 games. Goes up to Dodger Stadium where there's a marine layer, raining, ball ain't supposed to be carrying. And what do? He gives up 5 runs in 4 innings. It goes way over. So I got hosed by Gillian on this one. Pitch better, buddy.
Well, my host story is the inability of college basketball teams to make layups. I mean, first it's Miami giving up half a point in the second half against Connecticut. And then they go 8 for 23 on layups. I mean, score ends up 35-35 in the second half. And I lost by half a point. So that sucked. Then
Joe, they did shoot 12 for 12 from the free throw line, so they didn't give up any there. So they did their part on the free throw line. But yeah, you're right. You got hosed. Looked like they couldn't make those easy shots in the keys.
In the title game, the first half over with Connecticut and San Diego State was 60.5. The half ends, UConn misses like 3 shots, including like two two-footers. Score at the half ends up 36-24. It goes under by half a point, to the dismay of Butch, the Butcher. We watched the game with him. We both got hosed.
How does Vegas get these points on right at the half? I don't know how they do it, but it's amazing.
They got lucky on those. We got unlucky.
Hey.
You got hosed.
Oh, Rob, we hope to have you back in the studio next week.
I will be back.
Incredible trip back from Colorado. Drive safe out there.
We will. We'll be back in studio in the state's capital next week for sure.
Okay, man. Well, we look forward to it.
Okay, buddy. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
But anyway, I guess that's it for the show. I would like to thank Big Richard Martin, all our contributors, including Gator Gates and Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon, and our editor, producer, and engineer, Cornelius, and all you listeners out there, and Butch the Butcher. And next week, we look forward to bringing you another episode of Covering the Field.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.